My name is Dawn Chubey, and you're in the right place if you are a small business or a solopreneur, or you have a product that you want to promote and get seen by the most number of people in the ways that people are shopping. You're in the right place. We are talking about all things live commerce and social commerce, AKA live stream shopping. And no question, TikTok has been one of the fastest growing social media platforms of all time. We've got Julian Herbal who is here. And Julian, I came across just scrolling on TikTok as one does, and I come across somebody who's talking about the power of live stream shopping. And in particular, this guy, Julian Herbal, who was selling e bikes. Well, you almost had me sold, Julian.
Yes, almost. That's why I still have to get a little better. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's face it. I mean, when I looked at your bio and upwards of $2,000 in sales per hour for some of the top brands that you work with, I want to backtrack so that people understand where live selling talent comes from and what you did before TikTok.
Yeah. So I started a business in 2020. I started a coffee business because I love coffee. So I have a little bit right here. But I started a business in 2020. It was coffee at first. It started to end up being more focused on video because I realized it's very hard to sell specialty high-priced coffee without some sort of video content, especially online. Because in person, it's very easy to sell because you can taste it, but online you can't taste it. So how do you tell someone what it tastes like? So I focused on video. We got onto a platform called Pop Shop Live. Pop Shop Live was a live stream shopping platform where you would essentially connect your Instagram or your TikTok to a shopping platform and tell your audience to go to the live shopping app. And you'd have a specific time slot. You had to apply for slots in the calendar. And we were their first food and beverage live stream show. And the guy's name is Tom, no, NGO is his last name. And he's had a lot of experience. And he put Lorenzo and I, which was my friend, onto Pop Shop Live. We did lots and lots of shows there. So that's, I would say, where we got our introduction to live stream shopping. Um, and then we started doing corporate events, another on-camera thing, corporate events where we would teach people coffee classes, boba classes, chai classes, ship them kits, and teach them recipes on camera. Where, as much as it's a corporate event, you also need to be somewhat entertaining so you don't have your audience yawning and stuff. So I had a lot of on-camera experience. And then my business actually took a downturn, which was very unfortunate, pretty painful actually. And after coming back to church, I randomly got a job as a TikTok live stream full-time host. And I was looking for a job so with some sort of hosting capacity because I had done that before. And my boss now, Will, just came from the UK where he did TikTok Shop UK, and he came to the US to start an agency in the US. I was the number one, I mean, no, I'm sorry, first employee here in 2022.
Number one, that still counts as number one
Number
in my
one.
books. And I
Yeah.
find it incredibly fascinating on so many fronts, your story. So you are an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
you are a salesperson, you are somebody who loves to entertain. And so when that job opportunity for a, by the way, full-time
Yeah.
TikTok shop host comes out, it must have felt somewhat like a dream come true. And yet, when I hear you also talking about how difficult it would have been to sell a consumable product, something that you had to appeal to the senses through the knock, knock, knock screen, that is again one of the great talents that live sellers has is the ability to help people what I call see the feel, what you can't
Mm.
touch, taste, or try on.
Yeah.
So let's now move in to the fact, okay, I see you selling e-bikes.
My first live stream shopping show on TikTok in the US was during the beta rollout of Shop Feature. So we were one of the only um, people doing TikTok Shop live stream in the US at that point, and that was for a tech category. It took, I would say, about a month of streaming 4 to 5 hours every day, Monday through Friday, before we got our first like $500 GMV, which is gross merchandise value, aka sales stream. So once we got that $500 stream, it was like, okay, we just figured something out. And then after that, we just kept iterating and experimenting. And so my first endeavor was tech. I got hired by a TikTok shop agency in the US called Outlandish. Outlandish started in China, moved to the UK, did TikTok shop in the UK as well, and then moved to the US in November-ish of 2022. I was the number one employee, and we started with a tech account called 8Mall or 8Man. And so we were live streaming that a lot. And then after that, though, it started getting crazy. So, I mean, we started using my own personal account on TikTok to open up a shop and sell affiliate products. So on TikTok, you can either have a shop or you can be an affiliate. You can be an affiliate of shops products, or you can have your own shop. And so we used my creator account as an affiliate account. And so I started going live, 3 to 4 hours a day on there, which was crazy because I was able to build up my own account, which is nice, while I was working. So it was like, this is a crazy job. But that was variety. So I was selling everything from migraine caps, migraine relief caps, to uh, cat litter. What kind of Pidon cat litter? Like tofu-based cat litter, to vacuums, just crazy. I mean, just like a variety of stuff. And that was very difficult. Because I was in an office at that point too, like this, and so I had to make it very entertaining to get traffic. And then since then I've sold boba kits, hairbrushes, stuffed animals, you name it.
Oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
are so in the world of TV home shopping, which let's face it, is kind of the OG. I mean, all
Yeah.
that is live stream shopping, TikTok shop, Pop Shop, all that. Really, it started with TV home shopping. And so you would be a host somewhat like myself, like my good
Okay.
friend Carrie, and almost everyone in TV home shopping that has diverse expertise. And you actually become among the most, I'm going to say, in demand because you know how to research, you know how to demonstrate, and you know how to access the different customer motivations of all the different products. For a
Mm,
lot of people, they can only do one thing. Maybe and that's not a bad thing. They specialize in tech, or they specialize in beauty, or.
hmm.
So the fact that you can do many things makes you incredibly valuable. So it's not surprising to me that you were among the first to get one of those sort of agency partnerships. Now, were you approached by the agency? Did you approach them? And I also want to talk about a little bit about, without maybe specifics for your specifics, but the types of contracts that full-time and even
Hmm.
commission-based or part-time live selling talent might be able to negotiate.
So I actually found this job on Indeed, and I applied, sent in like a preview teaser of my experience, came in for an interview, and actually, it's not normal now, but I got hired without doing a test stream. So that was kind of lucky. Test streams are hard. For all the folks out here that are trying to interview for a host job, the test stream is actually harder than the real thing, actually, in my opinion. Because the real thing, you're talking to people. Yeah, I got hired full time, salaried. And then in terms of the variety of contracts I've seen, I would say that in the beginning, most other agencies or brands were hiring based on like hourly pay, and it was like a part-time job. Most of the host jobs that I found were part-time jobs. So I was trying to put together a bunch of part-time jobs, and then this one ended up being full-time, which was much better for me. It'll range from, $20 an hour, $30 an hour, $40 an hour. I have seen people with high following come in and get paid anywhere from 150 to 300 per hour. But what I've learned is that, just because someone has high followers doesn't mean they can sell. They might get traffic because people know who they are, but you can have that and still not sell.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating for them too, because they're expecting to promote this product like they would on a video. But live stream on TikTok is just different. It's not
Well,
like a video.
100%. And so, what for anyone listening or watching, what Julian's talking about is not only the frustration that the talent might feel or the influencer, because,
Hmm.
I remember when influencers first came out, Julian, but it used to be that you holding that coffee would have been enough if you were famous enough for me to buy that coffee.
Hmm.
Now, consumers are a lot more sophisticated. They're more intelligent about what they buy. Money might be tight, and it doesn't take, a handsome face or a pretty smile from anybody to make someone buy a product. And so you do have to use sales skills. And so for brands, I think the reverse, or maybe the coordinating frustration, Julian, might be, is why didn't that person with
Yeah.
10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 followers convert the way a micro influencer? And the reality is, because you're actually doing real influence when you're
Hmm.
selling, right?
Hmm. You are seen as an sort of an authority about on a product. And so if you don't know what you're describing, or you don't know the details of product, people can generally read that pretty easily. Like viewers are like, I would say, smarter than you think. If you don't know your details very well, either they'll just leave, someone might call you out. And yeah, you do need to have sales skills. I mean, sales skills can be trained, but there is some talent to being on camera. Some people get very nervous, it's not easy, there's a lot of pressure. So sometimes you can kind of freeze, right? But I think, I had a really good coach. My boss's name is William August from Outlandish. He was very patient. And so even though I had live stream experience on different apps and on Instagram and on, corporate events and such, TikTok is a different game. TikTok is way more intense and fast paced than other platforms, because on other platforms, you're typically receiving traffic from either your following or the app itself. But on TikTok, you have virality, to where even if you have like 100 followers, you can have a $1,000 sales stream in like an hour and a half. So
Right.
the ability to just create traffic like that, if with a good stream, is a big deal.
And you've got to have a great product, a great offer. So for you, and I encourage everyone, we'll give your TikTok handle out after, because I encourage everyone to check you out. I mean, that's how I came across you. You have to use certain techniques and strategies. And I mean, I'm glad you had a great coach. That's the kind of work that I do as well with people: how to connect through the screen, how to translate um, features and benefits, and in particular, the benefits as they relate to the features and vice versa.
Hmm.
You use props. You use different demonstration techniques. One of the props you used was it was like a digital, I think a digital clock, a
Oof.
digital alarm clock. Like we're talking like
Yeah.
old school, man, almost
Oh
analog.
yeah.
And I'm going to assume that you were doing that to showcase the limited time offer, which is one of the hugest strategies and fear of
Hmm.
missing out when it comes to social selling.
Oh man, you got to start teaching the live stream class for me. Instead, you talked about the Faves method and about suspense in 1 minute. Yeah, we use the Faves method. I didn't actually know what that was, funny enough, even though I'd done a lot of sales, but we do teach the Faves method, features, advantages, benefits, evidence, sell. Essentially, use the features and advantages and benefits to kind of relate to the person. Like, this is why I would buy this, right? And here's why. Ding, ding, ding. You don't go too long. Evidence is like, look at all these customer reviews. I can't believe, hey, you in the comments, tell us what you have, right? And then based on that, now a new person sees, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. He actually uses it. Look at this person that's using it. And then here's the deal. And then you sell. The timer for me was huge. I mean, my first successful stream had a timer. I used my cell phone. I put the timer on my phone. I put it in front of the camera. I think that using my phone actually made it more raw too for people. Like, this guy is literally using his cell phone to show us the time. Like, it wasn't super fancy. Like, I just really clearly wanted them to take advantage of something. So whatever means possible, including my own cell phone, I would do that with. So it kind of implies a level of like relatability and trust. I never do a stream without a timer. Almost never. Like 90% of my streams have this in the same timer, not any timer, because I've had people try to copy my timer strategy, and they buy a timer that has a gray face and black letters, and it doesn't show up on the screen. My timer is black with white letters. And so I put it just at the right angle where you need to kind of look, but you can see it. And I mean, there's a strategy that's specific to TikTok live streams, where the beginning of the stream is the most important. So in terms of playing with scarcity and suspense, you have to play with it a lot in the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, it's all about also kind of giving everyone, like I call it, almost like the rules of the game. Here's what to expect. Here's how you're going to order. And here are the number of products we might showcase. And then, of course,
Mhm.
integrating all of those strategies that you just talked about throughout the entire stream, as well as teases and
Yeah.
callbacks, and even generating interest back on the e-commerce site to items that, and I know it doesn't always translate then
Hmm.
on the commissions for you, but from a brand standpoint, ultimately traffic to the website is
Hmm.
still important as well. When it comes to flowing your show, and when I say that for anyone listening, we're talking not about a script, as in what do you say, but in the business, often people like me will call it a script. It is a show flow, it is a
Oh,
framework. So, what I know, because I had to clarify that. So, let's talk about your framework. How long are your streams? How many items might you include? Like how many SKUs? And what do you find is that secret sauce for timing on the length of time to present any one item if you're doing multiple item shows?
I've done everything from like around 5 items to the max you can do in a showcase, which is 100. 100 is pretty crazy. Whenever I had 100 items, I would generally only show off about 20, uh, because maybe out of 100, there are 10 that are the most popular. And then there are another 10 that are like maybe like a second purchase and they're potentially higher profit items. And then the rest are like if someone asks a question, I show it off quickly. But like in terms of the flow, you don't want to spend too much time talking about products that don't have a lot of interest just based on number of sales. So the majority, like I just did a stream for this hairbrush brand that I'm actually in their office, but they have the hero product is this main brush. I probably shouldn't show it off, but it's a hairbrush. It's like $18. It's their hero product by far. And you can tell just based on number of sales. So because you know that going into a live stream, you know you should spend the majority of time talking about it because that's the product people are most familiar with when they see your brand name. And especially if you have a deal on the hero product or bestseller, oh man, you're like off to the races. So um, in terms of the flow, I actually had to sit down and write out my flow a couple months ago because I had to start training somebody. And I realized I had never like formally written down my flow ever. I had just done it. So I had to sit down and think about like, why do I do this in the beginning? And so what I came down with is like essentially every 3 to 5 minutes, you have a things that you say. And I kind of categorize them. So for me, as I'm talking, there's an engagement strategy I call it, and I call it the rule of three. So there's instructions, suspense, and reward. So the instructions are maybe on a sign and what you're saying. The sign could say the deal of the day, or it could ask a funny question next to me. And then what I'm saying is you need, as a new viewer, you need to do this. Like these are the instructions. If that's not clear, people leave very quickly if they don't know what to do, especially on a shopping show on TikTok. Um, and the second part is suspense. There needs to be with the timer, right? And then the timer goes off and it's really loud and obnoxious. And people are like, Julian, turn the timer off. Like, and you don't really do what they say all the time. You're kind of like, oh, I'll get to it, right? But you
Yeah.
know you need that timer to be going off. So suspense, I use the timer. It makes it very easy. You got 2 minutes to do this. Otherwise, you miss out, right? And then the reward is you don't always say the reward. Sometimes you do. Like if it's a flash sale, TikTok Shop has a feature. You can just do a live flash sale. It's very easy. By the way, I forgot to mention, we are probably coming into Canada soon. Our
Oh,
agency. Yeah, I forgot to
okay.
mention.
How
But
exciting. Okay.
yeah,
We'll do a follow-up interview on that. You'll
okay.
give me the scoop, right?
Yeah, all of it.
I love it. And it's interesting because you do clearly have a natural talent, and so you, like me, who is pioneer in your business, and I'm good at what I do, but when we start educating people, when we start teaching people, we have to all of a sudden be able to make that a skill that we can hopefully teach people to do. And I believe that you can learn so many of the strategies. And then the camera confidence, that's another thing, and that's something that
Hmm.
I know I work with people as well on. But certainly, if you've got a background in any kind of performance, if you're comfortable on social media live, right? Because it's
Hmm.
different than tape. So
Yeah.
if you're good on tape, you're probably going to be good on live as well, or recorded, you'll be good on live, but it's something you should practice. For anyone watching right now or listening, and you're thinking, well, I'm in one of the countries that doesn't have TikTok Shop.
Hmm.
Until TikTok comes to Canada, for instance, you have opportunities with some of the live shopping platforms. And in the meantime, even if you're not using those clickable links, for instance, or the buy now buttons or something like what TikTok Shop has,
Hmm.
just start going live on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
Put your
Yeah.
affiliate links, right? Like
Mhm.
that's a great way to get started with pretty much no cost, right, Julian?
We hired a full-time host right now that has been doing that. Actually, we know several people that have been doing that on TikTok for years, even before the shop feature came out. And they were full-time entrepreneurs based on driving people to their link off the app. So yeah.
Yeah, lots of ways to get involved. For anyone that wants to learn more about you or watch your streams, maybe on with that $18 hero product, the
Yes.
brush, where can they find you?
My TikTok handle is Julian Dane with two E's at the end because one E was taken. So Julian Dane with two E's.
Amazing. I'll put the information there on the screen. We will definitely be in touch, and we can't wait till TikTok Shop comes to Canada. Thanks so much, Julian.
Thank you very much for having me.